Cool. Welcome to Let's Be Frank.
Hello.
We are back in the same office.
On the couch.
On the couch. And today we're going to talk about confidence.
Okay, there must be a reason why we're talking about confidence. What?
Probably because many of us lack it. I say us, me.
I think it's one of those universal things that that most of us encounter.
Yeah. I think in different situations, because I feel like sometimes I am very confident, sometimes overconfident about certain things, and then in other scenarios I definitely lack confidence.
So do you find that you are sometimes more confident or less confident in the same activity? I'm not really sure whether that's right, but let me use an example. I think we often see that in sport.
Mm-hmm.
They will say, oh well, you can see that he's confident or the team is confident, and other times, so people playing the same game.
Yeah.
So tennis players, for example, there'll be a specific match or specific tournament where somebody will be very confident, and then the next one, for whatever reason, that person just come across as being less confident. Yeah,
well, I suppose it all links to other things that we've spoken about, and we mentioned the baseline in our podcast with Mbali recently, and you and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday about when one thing is not really going right, sometimes it knocks your confidence or it makes everything else feel like it's not going right. So back to just making sure that your baseline is correct, and then building on that might build your confidence. I think we also spoke about it with Hein, about when one thing goes right, it's much easier to do the next thing. And
yeah, so that's one of the things that that Tony Robbins, for example, talks about, creating that momentum. You know, action creates momentum, and massive action creates massive momentum. And there are certain tricks, I suppose, or things that you can do, which very much like the baseline, I think if we are a bit more consistent with that, it will help us in general. So a lot of people, I listened to Dave Asprey's new book, Game Changers, recently, and they talk about, you know, so the book is in 3 sections, focusing on different things. First section is focuses on the mind, and it talks about, you know, all the people that he interviewed and spoke to and so on, and some of the lessons that he took out of that is so many people, without being asked the question, reference the importance of gratitude, for example.
Yeah.
So we hear that so often, and we read that so often, where the importance of priming yourself. So starting the day off, you know, finding those things that you are grateful for. And Tony Robbins actually has a very nice way of putting it. You know, he says, what do you have that you can be grateful for?
Yeah.
And even if somebody says, well, there's nothing that I feel that I can be, well, if you wanted to, what could you be grateful for? And then he asks a couple of questions. Typically, you know, it's grateful for, and then the other one that come to mind is what do you have to be proud of? And if you say, well, I have nothing in my life at the moment that I can be proud of, well, if you wanted to, what could you be proud of? And these are really nice little tricks, because by framing the question differently, you know, it brings out different answers.
Yeah. And I also think because those are positive things, and we've spoken about this, is positivity breeds positivity, just like negativity breeds negativity, and the ants and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You and I have spoken about ants, automatic negative thoughts. And that definitely knocks your confidence when it feels like everything is going wrong, which might just be a cycle in your brain that you know, something bad is happening, and then the next bad thing happens, and that knocks your confidence.
And you look for confirmation. You look for confirmation. And again, it comes back to how we frame those questions that we ask ourselves. There's an interesting. There's so many people write and speak about this. But I recently just read the famous Napoleon Hill quote again that says that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So it's about conceiving and believing.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins also, it's a very, very big part of it is you must believe. If you don't believe, and we know that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've often, or that I try to remind people about, is using the word try. When will this be finished? Well, I'll try to have it done by tomorrow. What are you saying? You kind of already conceded to the fact that I'm not going to achieve it.
Yeah.
So extremely important, these words that we use in our conversation, and those conversations can be in our own heads as well.
I've also noticed, probably from a bit of pointing out from you, the way that I draft like an email or a message to someone, and you tend to over explain, and I've gotten into the habit now of really reading my messages a few times before I hit the send button and making sure that I'm saying exactly what I want to say. I don't know if it's something that we do when we're using our phones or when we're emailing, that you try to make yourself sound fancier or whatever, and you end up putting in things that don't need to be there.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So I've gotten into the habit of really reading my sentence 3 or 4 times before hitting that send button, and editing and taking out words and changing words, and instead of saying I think, which we say a lot in this podcast, or I believe, just being a bit more confident in your writing and in the way that you say things.
So even writers, listened to a James Altucher podcast the other day where he spoke about writing, and I say actually the average number of drafts, I think, for a good book is about 8 drafts. It says the starting point is, once you've written it, go back and try to at least drop a third of what you've written.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And another trick that he uses is delete the first and the last paragraph. And then see, do I actually get the message across?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was made aware of again in listening to this Dave Asprey book is about what he calls weasel words.
Yeah.
And
of which try is one of them.
Of which try is one of them.
Yeah.
And he calls them weasel words, and he really calls out people when he finds them using those words. And even to the point where one of the tips that he gives in the book is to set up your word processor to underline those words, and I'm going to do that. It's on my to-do list for today. To do that, to set it up so that every email that I write, everything that I write, that those words are highlighted.
Yeah.
And these 4 weasel words are can't, try, bad,
and
what's the 4th one?
I don't know.
Oh,
is it not might or
no, it's need.
Oh, need.
Oh, it's need.
Okay.
Yes,
I remember that now.
Yes. Because there are very few things you need, but we use it so often and the subconscious kind of translates these things into what they actually mean.
Yeah.
Because you only need a few things. The rest are wants.
Yeah.
So we've covered quite a few things which
how does this come back to confidence?
How does this come back to confidence? I think what what we're looking for are ways in which we can boost our confidence.
Yeah.
So obviously, eventually it comes down to you have to take action. You have to take action, and by doing something repeatedly will make you more comfortable. You will gain more knowledge, more skills, and things will become easier. It's like, I don't know, learning to play an instrument or any new skill that you want to do. And that very much relates to our daily jobs as well.
Yeah.
Where do you find that lack of confidence is quickest to jump on you? Is it? Do you often find that in a work scenario?
For me, it's quite hard to pinpoint, because all of my triangles or whatever are so connected. I don't really know where it starts or what the cause is, but I do find that I get stuck in that cycle of negativity, and that knocks my confidence in all areas of my life. So one of the things that I think helps for me personally is just having a win, even if it's a small win. So I know I bring it up a lot, but doing the park run, that finishing, it always makes me feel better. Actually going and doing it and finishing it kind of boosts my confidence again, even if I didn't do a great time or whatever, just the fact that I went and I did it and I finished it. So for me, I need to try and find what those little wins are that I can have that will boost me and make me more confident, because I find
you use the weasel word there.
Try.
No, do them.
I need to try find those things. I know. 2 weasel words. Yeah. I must identify, I was going to say need again there. I must identify what those things are that boost my confidence and try and do more of them. For me personally, not try and do more than them. Do more of them. Because just like the negativity breeding negativity, when there's one small positive thing, it really does lead to the next positive thing and the next positive thing. So yeah, I don't know if that helps anyone else, but that for me is what I have to do.
I think it's pretty universal. When you encounter a win, it's obviously great, and again, about building momentum. Once you find that momentum, you've got to build on that. But our lives consist of, work and outside work and leisure and whatever else. And so finding a win in one area, it's about making sure, how do I carry that over into the other areas of my life?
Yeah.
So I could feel great about your example about the park run. That's once a week. How do you make sure then that positive carries over into other areas of your life? How do you get that to translate into positive in the work environment, where you may be challenged with something where you feel, I'm not sure how to do this, or a conversation that you may have to have with a colleague or a client or whoever, that I'm not as confident as I want to be in this. How do you translate those positives and the momentum that you built in other areas? How do you translate that to momentum in that particular scenario?
Are you asking me, or are you going to give me the answer?
No, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer, but I believe it's important to not segment those things into saying, well, that was great, I achieved the following, but that doesn't apply here, and then fall back into the negative state again.
Yeah.
Just maybe a little bit more awareness.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know.
So if you think about it, it all comes back to we are in control of our minds and our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And as a starting point, I have to believe that I can do something.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that my mindset is correct. We haven't even spoken about the importance of the physiology.
Yeah.
Rule number 1 in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life, stand up straight with your shoulders pulled back.
Mm.
And the importance of that in terms of getting your physiology right. And understanding that just by changing your state,
Mm-hmm.
you can change your physiology. Or not you can change, it definitely changes your physiology.
Yeah.
And it happens immediately. So starting with something as simple as that, checking your state. If your state, Jim Quick also talks about this quite a lot in terms of learning new skills and so on. If you show up with a negative mindset, then you are going to have a harder time to do anything.
Yeah.
So check your state. State influences physiology. If you've got the correct physiology going on, these things all lead onto more momentum and obviously achieving more.
Yeah. And being more confident.
And being more confident.
Yeah. Cool.
I hope that helps. These are things that I'm also working on.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of our discussions are just that, discussions and talking around the topic and kind of figuring out what our thoughts are on it and trying to come up with solutions for ourselves and for others. And yeah, we really just want to start the discussion open, get people talking.
Yeah. And we'd like some feedback.
Please.
We'd like to hear what works, what tricks do you employ. For me, it's, a lot of the time, these discussions of ours just creates that awareness in myself again.
Yes.
So I'm pretty disciplined in terms of journaling and doing the gratitude and that sort of thing. But still, this morning I woke up, it was great. I was grateful for a lot of things, and then all of a sudden things changed.
Did a taxi cut you off?
No, I don't get upset about taxis anymore. The coffee shop opened late, so I couldn't get breakfast.
Yeah.
And that really messed with me.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to kind of step away from the line of insanity. I cannot control it.
Yeah.
What is the worst that can happen is... But I had kind of prepared myself in terms of, okay, cool, this is how my morning is going to go. And I was really annoyed with myself by being influenced so much by something that is completely out of my control.
Yeah.
And really is not the worst thing
Yeah.
that can happen to me today.
Yeah. I think we should talk about the line of insanity next week.
Okay. Done.
Thank you for watching and listening, and chat to us. See you next week.
Thanks. Cheers.